All right. Big Old on Campus, Season 2, Episode 6. Uh, the Sandman Cometh. Not a burp. You go anywhere. Excuse me. Although that is appropriate for this episode. So, the Sandman Cometh. This episode has never been one of my favorites. It's just, kind of episode to me. Yeah. So, we start off with Tommy Merton and Lori in a dream sequence. We got Merton lured there by a hot chick. And then when Tommy and Lori show up, they say that John Elway lured Tommy there, and Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, lured Lori there. So Tommy and Lori got two celebrities to lure him, but Merton gets some just random hot chick. Good. And the Sandman is there, this ridiculous mummy-looking guy. He's having him dig for something we don't know just yet, but TNT are also there, of course, and so, so they're trying to figure out, they wake up, and they realize they all had the same dream, so they're trying to figure out what's going on. Merton is completely lost, but Tommy falls asleep again, and goes into the dream. I think Tommy and Merton both go in, or something early, and they find out that they're digging for this sand, this yellow sand, and they find out that the sand can permanently put someone to sleep for good. Sandman uses it on TNT, so they're permanently asleep. When they go to school, they realize half of the school is out because the Sandman permanently got them. So when they're trying to figure out a way to fight them, they decide that going to sleep is the best way. I should mention that Merton does mention Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy Krueger. But they no more than mention Nightmare on Elm Street. They completely rip it off. All right? You can say it's an homage all you want, but they rip it off. I will tell you that. So, they all fall asleep. Merton's like, I'm not going to fall asleep. I'm going to figure out what's going on. And then falls asleep. They end up in the dream, and Lori is hit with the permasand, I'll call it. Hit with it. She's permanently asleep. The other two are able to wake up. And, so, I go to Tommy's house. Tommy tells Dean, don't fall asleep. He's like, no chance, little brother. There's a Who's the Boss marathon on, and I'm not going anywhere. We find out that's not true, but, so Tommy and Merton are in the kitchen trying to figure out what to do. They both end up falling asleep, and they find that Dean also fell asleep, and he's not hit with the sand because his dream is being able to blink and change the TV channel by blinking, like that one mutant in X2. And so he throws the remote. Tommy catches it, which is important to note later. And before they are able to get caught, they wake up again. But Tommy brought the remote with him. So they devise a plan to get this detonator, because they find out it's a detonator on this machine. They got all the sand in there. And then detonate, it's going to go all around the world, and everyone around the world is going to be asleep forever. Problem. Not everyone sleeps at the same time. So will it affect them only if they're already asleep? Or will it just automatically affect everyone everywhere, no matter what time zone, no matter if it's light out, everyone's just going to fall asleep? It seems that they have to be asleep for him to get to them. That's what it seems. So it's very weird. But they go to Merton's lair and they devise a plan. They're going to get the detonator. Tommy's going to go in and get the detonator. Merton's going to wake him up. He's going to take the detonator out with, which is their initial plan, which would have been a twist on the Freddy Krueger thing. But like I said, they rip it off. So Merton gets Tommy to sleep by using Thanksgiving food and turkey and then rocking him to sleep in a rocking chair, and just the visual of Danny Smith holding the very tall Brandon Quinn and rocking him in a rocking chair is just. But finally, he gets him to go to sleep by telling the story of how his great grandfather met his great grandmother, and yeah, so he gets in there, he steals it, but TNT and the Sandman are there, and then Laurie is there. He takes care of the TNT, turns to a wolf man. And we don't get a little thing in the end. I thought we did, but we don't. Where he's like, "Hey Dawkins, we had a dream you were the wolf man." It's just a dream. But we don't get that. Anyway, during this, Merton takes too long to wake him up, so he grabs the Sandman when he's going to get woken up and brings the Sandman into the real world. Ripping off Nightmare on Elm Street. He kicks the Sandman into the wall, which turns him into sand. And we find out later Merton puts it in one of those things, we call it an hourglass, a giant hourglass. Sandman never comes back, although we could have. I feel like there was a way for them to have a big villain, and there was other ways that we could get heroes to come back. Merton, we know how, or not heroes, but magical creatures to come back. Like there's a big bad villain that was going to destroy everything, all of existence. And so they had to rely on old enemies to help, like Butch. Or the librarian, who they still have in a book in Merton's Lair library. The Sandman, who they now have his sand in the thing. It could have been a callback, I'm just saying. And a future character we meet in a couple episodes named Vince, who I will explain why, but would come to Merton's aid if needed. So, there was, there wasn't really set up, but they could have. They have two former villains, the librarian lady who could turn into whatever book she reads, and then, although it was only the ones that she collected the souls in, so I'm not exactly sure how she would help, but I don't know. But so that's how they defeat it, and Laurie wakes up, and then Dean apologizes to his remote. So this is not ever one I'm too excited to revisit. In fact, every time I watch it, I go, "Oh, I don't remember much about this," and then it's like, "Oh yeah, I think I try to forget it." It's just a meh kind of episode for me. It's not one of my favorites. Not one I go back to. It's just there are weirder episodes of the show, and we get season 3. Everything gets weirder. It's like they knew it was gonna be the last season, so they threw everything at the wall. I'm telling you, when we get to season 3, it's just thank you for shopping phone, and that's the more normal part of it. But anyway, yes. So this episode, but we'll go on to the next one.